Hey everyone, welcome back, and for some of you, welcome to my channel. My name is Frida and I'm thrilled that you are here. Today's video is going to be a makeup tutorial. I did a little bit of like a teal smoky eye, and I did want to incorporate the Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette because it has been one of my favorites this month, so I wanted to include it in more tutorials, and this is what I came up with. It's a little bit more smoky on the eye and nude on the lip, of course. So if you guys are interested on seeing how I created today's makeup look, then let's just go ahead and get started. And while you guys are watching, you guys can join my YouTube family down below by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always get notified when I post new videos. And now without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to start off with my eyes before my face, so I'm going to do my brows real quick, and I'm using the Essence Make Me Brow in the color number 3, and then I'm also using the Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit in the shade number 2. So I just like to brush these with the spoolie end and then fill them in pretty lightly, but most of it goes towards my arch just because I do have like some sparse areas right there, so I like to just fill it in pretty lightly right there. Now that I filled in my arch, I'm just going to use this little brow brush and just kind of soften them up by brushing them. Alright, I got the brows out of the way, so now I'm going to prime my eyelids. I'm just using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I usually just use whatever concealer I'm using that day to prime my eyelids just because it's easier. And then I just take a little teeny tiny stipple brush. This is the BH Cosmetics 121 brush. I've had it for years and years now, so I just like to take it and kind of evenly spread that all over my eyelids. And then once those are primed, I like to take any setting powder. This is the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, and I just like to use it to set the eyelid. That way it's not like sticky and none of the eyeshadow goes on patchy. It's just a really nice smooth base. Now we are officially ready for eyeshadow, and I'm using the Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette. I realized I haven't used it a lot on camera, but I've been using it a lot in real life, if that makes sense. So I wanted to do another tutorial and just make it more like fall. So today I'm going to start with the color Still Shot right here and use that as my transition shade. I'm just going to take that Still Shot shade on a big fluffy Morphe brush. I can't tell you guys the name of it because it's actually worn off, but I'm just working that into my crease. Now inside the crease, I'm taking that brown color Riff right next to Still Shot on a Sigma E25 and just kind of working it in there. If you guys have considered buying this palette, I think it's a really good time of the year to buy it just because it has a lot of really good like fall shades as well as summer shades. So it's just a really good universal palette to have like throughout all the seasons, and it's just really good pigmentation and it blends really well. I mean, some of these shadows are some of the favorite shadows I've ever used. Now the next shade I'm taking is Baja right here, and I'm gonna use that same Sigma E25 brush and just use that in the exact same place as Riff and kind of warm up the look a little bit more. Another thing I really like about this palette too is it really does mix some good like cool tone shades with some warm toned ones. Like if you guys can see, there's a lot of like purple in here and blues and greens, but then there's also like the oranges and the magentas. So it's just a really good combination, and I haven't seen a lot of eyeshadow palettes on the market that offer that. Usually you have to get like a good cool tone palette and then a separate warm toned eyeshadow palette, and we all have seen like a bazillion warm toned eyeshadow palettes, but this one definitely has some of the best formulas that I've tried out of like any of my eyeshadow palettes. This one is definitely very, very impressive to me. In the exact same spot that we put Riff and Baja, I'm going to take the shade Hell Ride and just kind of work that into the crease just to deepen it up and add a little bit more like magenta into this look. Now I zoomed you guys in so you could get a little closer look of what I'm doing next. I'm going to carve out my inner corner and do like an inner corner cut crease. So I'm going to use my Too Faced Born This Way concealer once again, take just a little bit on the back of my hand and take from there. And I'm going to use this really small Sigma brush. This is a Sigma Shader Lid E56. It's a really, really tiny detailed brush. So I'm just going to take a little bit from my hand and kind of carve out that inner corner. So So this cut crease looks a lot better than this one, but we're just going to move on. The next shade I'm going to use right where we put that cut crease is Big Sky right here. And I'm gonna use some Fix Plus with that shade. It doesn't really need it because it is very, very pigmented, but I just want it to have like that extra pop. So I'm just gonna take a little bit, and I'm using my Sigma F70 brush. I feel like this look needs a little bit more, so I'm gonna take the color Good As Gone right here, the dark brown, and just take that on the outer corner. So right in the middle where the teal and the dark brown meet, I'm going to take the shade Wanderlust, that dark army green, and I'm gonna take that on that same shader brush and just kind of do it as like a little transition. To brighten up the inner corner, I'm going to use the shade Breakaway right here, which is a really, really good lid shade, inner corner shade, brow bone highlight shade. I'm going to pop on some falsies off camera. These are the Euphoria by Jazzi lashes, and these are in the style Devotion. They look a little crazy inside the box because I've already used these a couple times, but I'm going to pop these on and I'll be right back in just a second. I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the face while I'm waiting for the lash glue to dry. So to prime my face, I'm using this Too Faced Hangover RX primer. And I just take about 2 pumps on my hand, and that's enough for my whole face. It's just a really nice hydrating primer. For foundation, this is going to be a little bit more complicated because I am going from like summer to winter, so I am kind of in between, and I have a summer shade and a little bit more of a winter shade, and they're both from Nars. This is just the tinted, the Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer, and then the Nars, I think this is the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. So I'm just going to take a couple dots of the tinted moisturizer. Obviously, this isn't necessary to use 2 different foundations. It's just right now when I'm switching, it's really complicated to try and just use one because this foundation's too light, as you guys can see, and then the tinted moisturizer is very dark. So now I'm using that same Too Faced Born This Way concealer that I used in the beginning. This is in the shade Almond, and I'm just going to put a fairly good amount just because the foundation is a very light to medium coverage. So I like to do more concealer than I like to do foundation. And I'm just putting it in the T-zone areas. All right, I definitely need to warm up my face because it looks a little bit pale. So now I'm going to cream contour using the Kat Von D Shade and Light contouring palette. And the 2 shades, as you guys can see, that I use inside of this palette are these 2 right here. So I like to take that on a MAC 130 stipple brush and just kind of work that into the skin. This is a very ashy contouring palette, so you definitely have to be careful. I'm going to use the same setting powder that I used to set the concealer on my eyes. This is the Cover FX Translucent Powder. And I like to take it with my damp beauty blender and only go down on my eyes, my nose, and just kind of carve out my nose. And then right here underneath my cheekbones. And then I just take some on this Morphe Y11 brush and kind of pat it into the underneath of my eyes. Now that's getting closer to the winter and the fall, I like to use more ashy tones on my face. So I'm going to use the Take Home the Bronze Anti-Orange Bronzer. This is from the Balm, and it's in the shade Oscar. And it is a very, very ashy color. I found a very cool toned blush, and this is the Cabana Boy blush from the Balm. And it just looks like this, so it's a little bit more like deep rosy pink, and I'm going to take a little bit of that. I've never tried this color before. Oh, that's like insanely pigmented. All right, this side looks okay, but this one, it got way too pigmented. Holy crap. Just be careful if you guys are using any of these blushes from the Balm because they are extremely pigmented. That was just one little swipe and it went a little overboard. And I have my favorite blush from the Balm. This is in the shade the Mary Lou Manizer. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, like champagne-y type of highlight. Alright, now we can move back onto the eyes, and I'm going to use this eyeliner from Urban Decay. This is a 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade Overdrive. It just looks like a really pretty deep green color, so I'm going to place that right here in my waterline, and wow, that is beautiful. I'm going to take this big sky color right here and just kind of smudge it on my lower lashes. And now I'm going to take that Good as Gone shade that we used for the outer corner and just use it to kind of smoke out the outer corner here on the bottom. Taking that Breakaway shade again, I'm going to really highlight that inner corner. Just finishing up the eyes by coating my lower lashes with that same The Balm Mad Lash Mascara. Just because this look is so smoky in the eyes, I'm going to do a very nude lip. So I'm going to do the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Lip Pencil in the shade Naked 2. I'm going to use a NYX Lingerie lipstick in the shade Silk Indulgent. So this is it for today's video. This is the completed look. Let me know what you guys think about the smoky eye and the light lips. I hope you guys did enjoy this makeup tutorial. Let me know what other colors you guys want to see for these fall and winter looks. I hope I will see you guys in my next video. And once again, thank you so much for watching and tuning into my channel. Bye!